as
This
well.
conference will now be recorded.
All right. Let me make sure you guys can hear me, because this audio sounds a little strange today. Let me see if I could hook this up a little bit. All right. Boom. All right. Thank you, Scotty. Thank you, Neil. We are good to go. I will not keep you here long at all, I promise. Within an hour, we will be out of here, so I can get back and see if I can find us some place for today. If you can believe this, the guys that I work with, two of the groups, so something must have happened, some kind of bug that someone dropped, because both of the groups that I've been moving the majority of bases for are reprogramming their bots today. Yeah, so that's been the lack of plays coming in. Just let them know I am ready to go. Right. Boom. Harry, get this bots going back. Get it going. All right. Hopefully they kick it back up. Here's what I got so far. From the yeah, again, I moved for different groups, different sports, nothing in NBA so far, but I do have two college baseball totals. I haven't been releasing those because they just move too quickly. And I know a lot of you guys may not even have access to them until they get to the like finals of the World Series, or at least closer to that, I believe. I know in the past we've gotten down, but I remember getting some complaints. Not everyone could get the number or get down. So they bet 3-3-1-7, Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech, under 14.5 at minus 115, and under 14 even up to minus 20. So it moved quickly and they were still willing to go under 14. Same thing happened in 3-3-1-9, South Carolina, Florida. They went under 12.5 and under the 12. So that's under 14 and 14.5, Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech, under 12, 12.5, South Carolina and Florida. Those are the two steam plays so far from the groups that I work with. Let me squeeze through here. All right, yeah, that looks like it's it so far. Slow day, big weekend. We're gonna have a lot of action this weekend. As you know, I already released 7 UFC plays with more coming. I'll pass them off real quickly. 5% play, Arman Sarukian. 4% plays, Bobby Green, Sodiq Youssef, Alexander Rakic, Jamal Hill. 3% plays, Max Holloway, Yan Xiaonan, and actually, let me look. I'm going to send out right now. Bet Online has minus 160. Let's do this. Oh, wait, it's dropping there too, circa 160s. Yeah, let's go. I'm good up to 165 too. Yeah, we'll make the average 165 on Aljamain Sterling. That's Aljamain Sterling. We're going to make it a 3% play on Sterling. I'm sending that out right now. Wasted no time on this UFC 300 card, as you can obviously have seen. Fired the 5% play from last week and followed up with a bunch afterwards, including I think 5-6 plays today. This is almost like, I'd compare it to, obviously not the type of volume as the Super Bowl, but for MMA, it's as close as you're going to get. UFC 300 card, we know UFC 100, 200, 300, those are huge events for the company. I mean, look at the card. It's so stacked that Cody Garbrandt and Davison Figueiredo are opening the night. Garbrandt Figueiredo, that could be a fight of the night main event easily. So, and also, oh, we got to do this too. Forgive me. We're going to upgrade. Are you ready? Upgrade. MMA, we're going to upgrade Max Holloway to a 4% play. That's Max Holloway, 4% play. Upgraded. For some reason, it went through twice, so I'm going to have to do that one twice just so no one gets confused. But obviously, you guys know I wouldn't put 8 units without letting you know at least. All right. So let's make sure we got that right. Yep. All right, let me just make sure I adjust my numbers. Nothing more important than proper bookkeeping. Nothing. So, make sure we upgraded Holloway. Sarukians are 5. Green 4. Youssef 4. Rakic 4. Hill 4. Yanan 3. Holloway 4. Sterling 4. Oh boy. Oh no, Sterling 3, forgive me. Sterling 3. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 plays. 8 plays. Boom. All right. That's again in action. Again, I told you guys, I'm never going to force anything. If there's not strong NBA, we're going to pass. If there's not strong MLB, I'm going to pass. I'm doing this for money, and that's what this subscription is for. Bettors whose only goal is to turn a profit year over year. And that's exactly what we're going to do in 2024. I'm excited. Like I said, we've just been going back and forth, treading water, back and forth. That's going to happen. The fact that we don't have to make up ground, that's what matters most. When we're running like this, the key is to not fall behind. Like the fact we're breaking even, yeah, it sucks. You have to pay your overhead, your internet bill, your subscription. I get that. But we more than make up for it when we go on our runs. And that's what always happens. Like, even if you're which no one is, but let's say somebody was a 60% handicapper at -110 against the point spread. So they're 60%. Long term, they hit 6 out of 10 bets. That's not going to go every 10 bets, they're going to win 6. Like every 20 bets, they're going to have 112. Every 30 bets, they're going to have 118. Every 50 bets, they're going to have 130. That's not how it's going to go down. Over 20 bets, they may only win 3. But then over the next 20, they win maybe 17 out of 20. And then the next, they may go 10 and 10. And then 15 and 5. And then 13 and 7. And next thing you know, after 100 plays, they're now 60 and 40 minus the juice, up 16 positions. That's how it always plays out. Now, if you're trying to time when that streak's going to happen, that's when you fall into trouble. And that's what happens to most pick buyers. I've seen it. I've been in the industry long enough. They jump on a guy after they saw him go on a run. And 9 times out of 10, since we know 99.5% of sports bettors lose, it's a losing tout. And what's going to happen? He's going to regress towards the mean. And as soon as you buy that next month, they're going to start, regressing. That's just math. It's not my opinion. It's just what happens. It's why I even urge bettors who don't listen to me and aren't trying to time it. If you're ever going to time me, bet me when I'm breaking even or running cold. Don't bet me when I'm at my hottest, because you probably already missed or dried up, more importantly. And how sustainable can this possibly be? So that's the goal. Oh, and real quickly, before we get into past results, I hope most of you've listened. I've been pounding the table now for how many months? Any spare money, buy gold. Buy gold. It doesn't matter. Buy physical gold. Buy a coin. Buy a 10th of an ounce, a 20th of an ounce, a 100th of an ounce, a whole ounce. But buy some physical gold. And what's happened since? Let's look at what day. We'll pick a day. We'll pick February, right? We'll pick what? 2 months ago on today. So February 12th, just 2 months ago, on February 12th, gold closed at $19.93, so less than $2,000 it closed. Today, we're looking at it went up to $24.35 at some point, almost a $500 increase, 25% return on investment in 2 months. But more importantly, with the economy going in the direction it's going, you've now set yourself up with a ton of security for your future. Because rest assured, this inflation is going to get worse. Like we already know, the math is already reflected that the average person, the average American is already spending $450 a month more to eat exactly what they ate last year. Let me say that again. If you ate exactly what you ate last year, you're now paying $450 a month more for that exact food. Over the course of a year, you know how much that is? Over $5,000. Over $5,000 in the course of a year. That's just to eat. Now let's talk about the gas and fuel that's gone up. Our electric, gas, heating that's gone up. Our rents that have gone up. How much have our pays gone up? Have they kept up with inflation? I don't think so. I don't think so. I promise you, it's just going to get worse. It's just going to get worse. Yesterday, the numbers came out for California. 40% of all Californians are at least 1 month behind on their power bill. Yep, not their rent, not the big one, on their power bill, where their electricity will be cut off. 4 out of 10 Californians are behind on their electric bill. And now factor in credit card bill, rent payment, car payment, insurance payment, health insurance payment, school payment, all that shit. Man, protect your money. Protect your money. Shit's going to get harder. We've gotten used to easy money, free money in America, where we could just borrow at no interest rate. They're just printing it. They're just giving it away. Well, now we're going to have to pay the piper for that printing. For all that free money over the last 10, 12 years, 0 interest rates. Someone has to pay for that. Someone's going to pay for that. And unfortunately, it's going to be us, this generation. Us that are adults now, and most likely our children too. Like, again, I don't mean to go, I know it's a sports betting, but what good is it if the rest of your financial stability isn't there because of how bad the economy is? Like, yeah, we're winning money betting sports, but the rest of the world is burning. But no, on a serious note, I just want you guys to be prepared. Like I try to prepare you with the sports betting, on what being a winning sports bettor actually looks like, profiting year after year and increasing your bankroll and your bet sizing so that you do this for real and make a real living investing as a trader. And I'll do the same, anything else that I know very well. It's blackjack, sports betting, and financial markets and stuff like that. I'm very well versed in that. And like I said, I think you're going to see it'll get good. People are like, oh, the worst is over. And then towards the end of the year, chaos. We'll have a couple good years, but towards the end of the decade, that's where the dollar, if any real math guy that does the math behind what our debt is, most of them know what's coming at the end of the decade. So start piling up that gold, start piling it up. Now, honestly, $50 a month, $100 a month, just forget it. Put it there to the side. Don't even look at the price. Just let it sit there. Let it sit there. Let it sit there. And hopefully, let's pray that I'm wrong. Let's pray that I'm wrong. And that 2029 and 2030 are actually beautiful and prosperous years, not chaotic and worse than the Depression type of economic situations for most of us. So anyway, with that out of the way, let's get back to sports betting because we're 15 minutes in. Everybody is now here. So let me get some questions, then we're going to go over results. All right. Yes, Bobby Green. Yep, 4% play on Bobby Green. Yeah, it's in the, and oh, you could always remember, it should always be in your back end too. Like, I'm not sure where you signed up from, but I know with WagerTalk, I see it in the back end. At the big moves, I see it. You have web access there as well as email access. If you log into your web, you'll see that I sent him and Sarukian at the same exact time. I believe it was last Saturday or last Sunday when I fired a 5% play on Sarukian. I also threw out a 4% on Bobby Green. And I can tell you with honesty that my Rakic play, my Yusuf play, my Bobby Green play, and my Max Holloway play all warrant all were possibilities for 5%ers. Like I told you, this is I don't want anyone going crazy. That's why I didn't say make them all 5% plays, even though I think more than one actually may warrant it. I don't want people going nuts. I got to protect us as well. But like I said, UFC 300 reminds me of the Super Bowl. What happens in the Super Bowl? We fire 10, 15, 20, 30 props. There's been years where we fire. Why? Because there's an oversaturation of recreational bettors crashing the party. And that's what's going to happen at UFC 300. So many casual fight fans are going to line up and watch it because of the BMF belt, the main events. It's stacked card. People get together for pay-per-views. And because of that, we have a ton of line value. With that said, doesn't guarantee we're going to end up killing the books, but you are favored to when you got the best of it. And that's all we could ever hope for. You know, like I said, I feel we are getting so much value that on Sarukian, even though I knew the public's going to come in on Oliveira. Come on, it's Charles. He's won 12 of his last 13, I believe. How is he not going to get bet by the public as an underdog? But even at minus 225, there was just too much value for me to have to wait. Too much value. Ernesto, welcome to the party, my friend. You missed nothing. The only thing we've had so far were those two college baseball totals that I'm sure aren't even available. That's why I didn't even use them as premium plays. And they were under 12, South Carolina, Florida, under 14, Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech. So under 12, South Carolina, Florida, under 14, Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech. Again, I only have a small piece of them because I provide accounts. With that, let me get through these questions real quick so we could go through best sites. Great question. Great question. All right. Some of the best places to buy gold, okay, are Lear Capital, Lear, Lear Capital. I've had great success with them. I had great success with JM Bullion, Bullion, Bullion. Hartford Gold, and Goldco. You get those four, you're gold. Any of those. Lear Capital, American, Goldco, and Hartford are probably my favorites, followed by Lear and the Bullion. Any of those, I've had great success. It was just a matter of not even price. It was who was allowing me to purchase based on how much they allow. Because like if you use a credit card, you're only allowed to buy so much. If you use a wire, you can buy so much. So it depended on how I was going to fund the gold I was buying. And based on the amount that I was buying in physical gold, that would be the companies that I was using. Again, it'll probably pull back because it went up so high. And that's why I sold the gold that I own on paper, like the stock gold. But the physical gold, I never sell that. That you just keep. Don't even care what the price is when you buy it. That's just for security. That's so you know your hard-earned money is being protected. It's not going to go up 10x, 20x, but it's not going to go down either. It's there to protect your wealth. While inflation is taking your wealth away and the dollar's buying power is being eliminated, you're protected against that. Because let's not forget, the dollar's doing exactly what every fiat currency has done since the beginning of time, and that's go to zero. It just hasn't done that yet. You know that, right? Like every fiat company that has ever been created, any fiat money has gone to zero. That's just what it's programmed to do. You just print it out of existence. Eventually, you print so much because it's not backed by anything of value that it becomes invaluable. That's why you look at some of those smaller countries, and for them to buy $1, they have to put up 50 million pesos or 2 billion leva, or depending what currency. It's because all the currencies that are not backed by anything, that's exactly what happens. And the dollar, it's already lost since its inception, what, 99.7% of its buying power? Like it's almost at the end. We know that, right? Like things aren't supposed to go up like that. It's supposed to get stronger, not weaker. Like they just brainwashed us into thinking the dollar loses value. A store of value is supposed to increase. It's not supposed to decrease. Like when you buy an investment, you won't buy it because you're investing in it to increase in value. Well, dollars, currency, is a form of that. But since it's not backed by anything, now that we're off the gold standard since 1971, it's become more or less worthless according to its buying power. Just think about it. How much was stuff just 10 years ago, just 20 years ago to buy a car? You bought a nice car for 30 grand a decade ago. Now you need 80,000. Same car, but the dollar's lost its value. The car isn't. Like a Mercedes in 1988, a 1988 Mercedes in 1988, and compared to a 2024 Mercedes in 2024, Why should it be that huge of a difference? Why did the dollar lose that much value? It's not the car that increased in value. It's that the dollar has decreased in value. That's all that's happening. But they have us brainwashed thinking the opposite, that these things are going up. These things are more expensive. No, they're not. They're cheaper to fucking make. What are you talking about? Now we have machines making them. We have AI running 24 hours a day. We have cheaper factories, cheaper labor, cheaper this, cheaper that. It's not more expensive to build shit. You build this thing now for $10. 20 years ago, it cost you $10,000 to build one of these. 30 years ago. Now they build them for $50. So shit should have gotten cheaper, right? It shouldn't get more expensive. Why has it gotten more expensive though? Even though technology is supposed to make things cheaper and more beneficial. It's because the dollar's lost its buying power. That's what happens to fiat money. But gold hasn't. What you were able to buy, that's how they pay a suit. That's how it was. That's how gold was always compared to. That with that same piece of gold that you were able to buy a suit in 100 BC, you could exactly buy a suit with that same exact amount of gold in 2024. That's what buying power is all about. That's what holding its value is all about. The dollar's done the opposite. So I'm telling you, out of caring, now you're gonna do it or you're not, it's on you. But I promise you, it's April 12th, 2024. In 5 years, in exactly 5 years, April 12th, 2029, anyone that has followed what I'm telling you is gonna thank their past self for giving a shit. You're going to look back and thank yourself for protecting yourself, for actually prepping for what could possibly come. And again, like, who do we think we're special? The Roman Empire, the Chinese Empire, the Greek Empire, the Egyptian Empire, the English Empire. They all eventually were no longer the most dominant nation on the planet. That changes. It always does. We know who's next. China's about to take over. They got billions of people. Now they're in with the economies like everyone else in the last, what? Since who did that? Clinton did that in the 90s? Where they went from poverty to one of the richest nations? Eventually, what's going to happen? So again, don't get me down this road. See, we're wasting time going down this road already. But yes, thank you. Neil heeded the advice, already up 18%. Yes, sir. I'm telling you, it's not going to change, Neil. It may come down. It could drop down a little bit, 10%, 15%, 20%. Who gives a shit? Eventually, it's going to keep going up because the dollar's not going to keep losing. It's not. It's lost value from last year, the year before that, 5 years before that, 10 years before that, 20 years before that. It's not going to start increasing in value. The trajectory has already been in place from 1971, as soon as we came off the gold standard and we allowed our government to print as much money as they need to cover expenses without building anything. So they're not building anything and selling it. They're just printing money. It's not like, hey, let's make something. Let's profit off it. No, that's too hard. Let's just turn the printing press on. Let's just print a couple $1 billion. Who gives a shit? Well, what happens when you do that? The rest of the dollars in circulation become less valuable. Let's picture it this way. You have the only Michael Jordan rookie card in existence. The only one. What happens if there's 2 of them? What happens if there's 3 of them? 4 of them? 10 of them? 100 of them? The value decreases. The more scarce, the more valuable. It's very, very simple. But again, they keep us confused. They scare us with news. That's all they do. Nothing but scare us. Divide and conquer. Let's talk about race. Let's talk about gender. Let's talk about shit that doesn't even matter. That in the big picture, it doesn't even matter. When human beings are suffering, none of that shit matters. We're just very lucky where we're at, and we don't know how fragile where we're standing is. Again, the Romans, the Greeks, the Egyptians, the Russians, the Chinese, the English, they all were masters of the universe over their 100-year period, 150-year period. They all reigned supreme until one day they didn't. And it didn't just one day they woke up and they're no longer the superpower. It gradually happens. It gradually happens. Things start to change. And what are we seeing? Other nations getting together, creating the BRICS, where they're trying to create their own basket of currencies backed by precious metals. People are starting to move away from the de-dollarization, they're calling it. The central banks have been buying up all the gold they can get their hands on. Why? Why would the central banks do that? Why would they not be stockpiling dollars? Against other currency, we're the strongest. We're the strongest against all the other currencies. I'd rather have a dollar over any other currency. Any other currency in the world, the dollar's number one. Unfortunately, that too, though, is going the exact same way like every other currency. It's just slower for us because we happen to be the dominant superpower at this time. Or else, what's going to separate us from Brazil? Brazil had more natural resources than we could ever dream of. More petroleum and gas and precious metals than we can ever hope of finding here in America. They were flushed with cash, flushed with cash. What happened? They went to fiat. They went to fiat. Why? Because if you're a president, that's the best. If you're in government, that's the best. You want fiat. Because if anything's going wrong, just print it. Just print it. What? There was an earthquake. Fuck it. Print it. Oh, there were fires. Print it. Just print money. It's all good. And you look like a hero. Save the day. Print, print, print. Down the road, though. Down the road. Down the road. Someone's got to pay for it. Someone's going to always have to pay for it. You can't just do shit without consequences, good and bad. Good and bad. The good consequences are the money's immediate, so it helps people then and there. And look at the liquidity with the stock market, how much it's gone up this year, 20+%. That's liquidity. Too many dollars in circulation. It's got to go somewhere. That's where it's going, into the stock market. Where else is it going to go? That's why it's been going up. But that liquidity is going to dry up. And they can't print again. Why can't they print? Because the interest rates are above 5%. And when your debt is as high as it is, what are you going to pay it with? Like eventually you run into that wall where there's no more movement. You don't have any more plays. You can't turn the print and press off because the interest rate's too high. I mean, you can't turn it on. Like they're backing themselves into a corner. And the central banks know it. The biggest institutions in the world know it. And the biggest freaking billionaires in the world know it. And that's why they've diversified out of the dollar and into other assets. And for us, I mean, mostly what we have at our disposal to protect ourselves is gold and maybe a little bit of crypto. Maybe 5% of your net worth, 10% if you're real young, because even if you fuck up, if that goes to zero, you still have your whole life. So if you're young, yeah, have 10% of your savings in crypto. That's fine in case it does turn out to be the future. But let's talk today. To protect yourself today, yeah, get some gold. And for over the next year, if you want to invest, you got some spare change, there's only 3 things you need to put your money in besides gold. Natural gas, which has been going down its lowest. It's as cheap as it's been, can't even remember since when. Natural gas, okay? Uranium, you need uranium, and oil. Invest in those 3 things. Invest in those three things. Over the next 12 months, watch what those prices do on energy. Energy is going to become so expensive for not just the other nations. That's why they're building so many nuclear reactions, so many coal mines. You know, they're anti-coal. Go Google how many coal mines have been opened in China the last 2 years. Want to see some shit? Google that. Google that. And see how many coal mines has China opened in the last 2 years. Yeah, and energy is going to be a problem. Energy is going to be a big problem. So protect your wealth that you already have with gold. Build your wealth with natural gas, oil, and uranium. I bought uranium. I was pushing it at $34. At $34, I was pushing it on WagerTalk today. It's now up to 50 plus. It's not stopping. Uranium will not stop. It'll have pullbacks, and it's very volatile. That's for sure. But you don't have to worry. Here, I'll show you real quick. I love this. Love you guys. Hold on. Let me show you a little something. All right. All right, you guys should be able to see my uranium chart right here. All right, let's go to the daily chart. As you can see, I have my Fibonacci retrace here from the breakout point that was back in April of 2023. Exactly this time last year is when uranium started to break out. Started to break out right around here. All done. Yeah, let me get that out of the way. Perfect. We saw it right around here. It starts to break out. It had a pullback, but then it broke. It don't usually go back to the scene of the crime, like it's called. And then it started going up. So right around that $29 range last year, this time last year. We're almost double that. We're almost double that. So we're gonna, right now I'm waiting for this pullback. If it goes to 51, this is my next buy order. But deep down, I'm hoping it goes down to this one, this scene of the crime here. There's a lot of support here, as you can see. Like if it goes to 47.50, I'm going to start loading up. And my last one where I'm really going to back up the truck is the 618. Probably will never get there. But if there's a market dump and it gets back to the 618, and I could get in around that $40 range where those highs in 2022, oh, ace is in, ace is in. That's where I load up the truck and just let it ride over the next few years, As you can see, we're now at all-time highs for uranium, all-time highs. Don't you love that? How it perfectly, not always perfectly, but how symmetrical it is with the Fibonacci. Like Fibonacci's in everything, in nature. If you look at leaves, if you look at the trees, like there's so much of the Fibonacci sequence in everything. And in trading, it's one of the best weapons because most stocks do retrace according to their Fibonacci retrace. And you see it almost fits perfectly in those lines where you could, you know, buy support, sell resistance, buy support, sell resistance, buy support, sell resistance, buy support, sell resistance, buy support, sell resistance. Just trading Fibonacci, that's it. Just all Fibonacci. You could set up support and resistance so easily. Without, look, I have no other trend lines. I don't see any other trend line I have here. That's wild. Good shit. Good shit. All right. All right, sorry. I just let you know, I love you guys, so I just try to share all kind of shit with you that I do throughout the day. Okay, let's get back to work. Let's get back to work. Because like I said, I need to get some more plays. Okay, let's keep going. Yeah, if you could get that number on college baseball, like I said, I bet it. I wouldn't bet more than 2%, a 2% play. But yeah, right around 2%. Vlad, my man asked, how do you think Bitcoin fits in this? Here's the problem with Bitcoin. Right now, it's a speculative asset. Like, you can't use it as money because it's too volatile. Like when in that one drop, it dropped 9,000 in an hour. Like, so that was, I remember that drop was like 13 or 15%. Let's say 15% in 1 hour. So let's say I'm a billionaire and I want to send $1 billion because I'm buying a property in Dubai. So I'm going to wire them $1 billion. Let's say I wire it to them. Let's say in Bitcoin, and I know it's instant, it gets there instantly, but unless they exchange it into currency, what does it matter how quickly it gets in their hands? So what I'm saying is, in that hour, if me, the billionaire, sent my guy in Dubai $1 billion in Bitcoin, unless in that same hour he ran it his exchange and exchanged it for cash, we lost $150 million. I lost $150 million of my 1 billion in an hour because of the volatility of Bitcoin. So no one's going to buy it. As far as using it for money, it's not possible. It's just way too volatile. How can you even price anything if it's moving like that? Like one day the price for the car is going to be 1 Bitcoin, the next day it's going to be 1.25, the next day it's going to be a half a Bitcoin. Like, you can't do that. So you can't use it for an exchange of meat, like money. So we know that it's not that yet. Okay. So what else could it be? Could it be a store of value? Something we put our money in and it protects it, like gold, where it fights inflation and is able to increase in value above inflation. Okay. Has it done that? I don't know. It's one of the best performing assets over the last decade. So yeah, in many ways it has. But on the flip side, if you were trying to time it, you probably went broke because of its volatility. It went from 0 to 69 to 20 to 65 to 15. Like, again, how is that a store of value? One day you're a millionaire, 3 months later you're not. 6 months later you're now 2x a millionaire, but 3 months after that you're back to not being a millionaire. Like, again, where's the store of value? So it's not that either. So it's not money and it's not a store of value. So the two things that they're telling us it's obvious it's not yet. Maybe it'll turn into it, but it's so obvious just by how it's performed that that's not what it is. So what is it? It's a speculative asset. And what's a speculative asset? It simply means it's a way to trade, which simply means I'm buying it because I think someone's going to pay me more for it. That's the only reason you're buying it. Like, the only reason you're buying Bitcoin is because you think in the future someone's going to be willing to pay you more for that Bitcoin. You're not buying it for its use. What use? The use is a dream. It hasn't been realized, not even close. It's been an asset now for how long? 12, 15 years? They've been telling us it's going to be used to buy shit and it's going to be used as a store of value. Both of those things have not turned out. And in that time, it's been one thing, a speculative asset, where people that bought low and sold high became wealthy. They didn't do anything with the Bitcoin, wasn't able to do anything for them. What did they build off it? It's not even one of the better cryptos. There's more applications on Ethereum and Solana than Bitcoin could ever dream of having. So the only good thing with Bitcoin is that there's a finite supply, a finite supply, that there's only going to be 22 million minus what's been lost, maybe 20 million, some think, whatever it is. And that it's decentralized. It's not controlled. But what's happening? It's slowly starting to become centralized, right? There's now ETFs. I thought what is it? Not my keys, not my Bitcoin. What happened to that? Holding your own Bitcoin. Now the big people that were chanting about not your keys, not your Bitcoin are now saying, yeah, ETF, yeah, ETF, yeah, come on, BlackRock, come on, BlackRock, push that shit, push that shit. What happened? I thought Bitcoin wasn't going to be that. I thought Bitcoin was going to be the future where we're all kumbaya with each other and we hug and kiss and no one screws each other, no one steals each other's wealth anymore. And it's such a beautiful, beautiful world. I thought that was what was going to happen. How did BlackRock get involved? How did Larry Fink get his hands on all this Bitcoin? That's the problem with Bitcoin, Vyacheslav. That's the problem. That it's a great idea, great in theory, bad in practice, because we're human. And humans are greedy. Humans can be terrible. That's just how it goes. That's just how it goes. The idea, beautiful idea, great idea. But good in theory, bad in practice. I hope, I have Bitcoin in cold storage. I'm sitting on Bitcoin. The Bitcoin that I trade, I dumped already. So I don't have any that I'm trading with, but I do have some in cold storage just in case it is the future, but I don't think it's going to be my future. Maybe a few generations down, they'll find my cold wallet and someone will be happy that I did that for them, in my bloodline. But I don't think in my generation, it's going to be, Bitcoin will establish itself as either of those things, a store of value or money. And it's just not enough time. You know what I mean? It takes a long time to get something like that to happen. So until then, it's a speculative asset. And what do we do with speculative assets? We trade them. We trade them. We buy low, we sell high. We don't marry them. We don't date them. We trade them. That's it. That's all they're for. They don't care about the philosophy behind it. I don't care who created it. I don't care about being laser eyes or none of that nonsense. All I care about is someone going to pay me more for it a day from now, a week from now, a month from now, or a year from now? That's it. That's it. And right now, based on the price, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it's too high right now. I think we wait for a pullback and we ride it up again. We ride it up again. But if you we're buying at 30 and you're not selling at 70, again, I don't know what the goal was. To be a billionaire? Have at it. I hope you get there. God bless. God bless. All right, let's go. What's next? Yep, all debts are paid, baby. Yeah, treasuries and bonds. Sorry. There it is. Fibonacci. That's it. That's all you need. Yes, I bet more sides than totals in MMA. Do I think there's more value on the sides? Not really, not really. I just feel more confident in betting sides because the way I handicap MMA, I try not to predict how a fight's going to play out. I think that's too hard to do. I strictly look at the better data and look at biases that the market may have that I could take advantage of, not predict how the fight's going to play out. Like these guys are going to grapple for 2 minutes, then they're going to stand up and they'll be clinching for another round. So it's going to go over 1.5. Like my mind doesn't work like that. So I'm not good at that. I try not to. I think that's why I do more sides than totals, because whenever I bet totals, it's always based on, again, like one of those principles and not because of how I think the fight's going to play out. So that's a great question. That's a great question, Arnold. I'm sorry, because I bet so much more sides than I do totals in MMA. That's for sure. Okay, let's go over results. Let's see. Just let me remind my guy, nothing yet, nothing yet. Jesus, come on, man. Get this bot going or else. All right, let's go over results. That matters more than anything. That matters more than anything. We were break even. We were up like, until like 3 days ago when we lost those baseball dogs, we started getting up to like that plus 20 unit range. But we went into this stretch right here where I went like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I went 2 and 9 over the last 2 days. But in my defense, we had Oakland plus 160, Oakland plus 145, Minnesota. We've had the Mets plus 165, Oakland's plus 183s. Like, you guys got to know with baseball, it's over the seasons where we've done the most damage. Like, I love baseball. I love how this baseball season's going. Let me tell you that for now. I'm already number 3 in baseball, already with a 5% ROI. And that's after, again, going on that 2 and 9 stretch. Or we'd be number 1, because I know I was number 1 before that 2 and 9 stretch. It just happens to be that couple bad days, only like 2 or 3 games that lost, but I bet first 5 and full game. I put rating 6% on that. You know what I mean? A whole 1.5% of bankroll, actually, if you break it down, because that's how big our edge is in baseball overall. So over the season, I'm confident we'll be gold, but you got to bet size correctly, because that's what happens. We bet a lot of dogs, and you got to know going in, you're going to cash more tickets than you trash. Even when we have our best years, you're not going to be at 50% betting baseball. So you got to bet size correctly, bet size correctly, bet size correctly. Right now in NBA, we're about to hit the playoffs. I'm sitting at number 2, up 50 units and up 13% ROI, 13.6% ROI. MMA, sitting at number 1, over 77 units the last year, over most of 7% ROI. So what I'm saying is we're sitting fine. We just haven't broken it open yet. We're just like treading, hovering around that break-even point. In fact, we're exactly right now at a 52.1% win percentage and exactly minus 5.46 units. Let's say 6 units times $25. So anyone with a $10,000 bankroll is down 150 bucks. Okay, that's what you should be down. Even if you're down double that, 300. Which, again, that's when you got to make sure you're doing it right. That's nothing. That's zero. Again, we just been treading water. I get it. A quarter of the month of the year, almost a third at the end of this month, will be gone. We'll be gone. As long as we're in a position where we don't have to make up units, we're gold. We're gold. That's the key. That's the key. To make sure when you're consolidating, that what you do is not get buried. Let me show you consolidation real fast. I'm sorry, but I need to do this. I need to do this. My bad. This is what consolidation looks like, so you understand. Look at something that's consolidated on the daily. Gold's probably consolidated before it's gone up. Oh, about Bitcoin. That's what we've been talking about. Let's look at Bitcoin. This is consolidation before the next leg up. See this? See how it's trading in this little window? I mean, there's some variance where it goes above. That's variance, but it came right back down. It was trading in that little channel. That's consolidation. That's what you want to see if a stock's in a position where it's heading up, where it has an edge. It needs to consolidate. It needs to catch its breath. And why did it consolidate? Because it had gone straight up from here. Remember, it got dropped down to under that 30,000 mark. All of a sudden, it shot up 30% in no time from October to the end of October. You got almost a 30% move. It needs to catch its breath. It needs to consolidate before another leg up. That's exactly what you're looking at. Right now, this is what we're doing. We're consolidating. And that's when a lot of people make their biggest mistakes. They just don't have the patience to wait it out. They sell too early and not catch that next leg up. I don't want that to happen to you guys. I know what's going to happen with us, with baseball, with everything that's coming up. No concern at all. Zero, none. My only concern is that you follow the game plan. So here we go. How do we do it? We don't bet 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%. Those are ratings. That's a rating. This is bet size. 0.25, 0.50, 0.75, 1%, 1.25 of the bankroll. So if I have a $10,000 bankroll, what's 0.25 of that? $25. What's 0.50 of that? $50. 0.75, 75, 1%, 1.25. That's correct. So on a 5% play, we're betting $125 with a 5% play. That's what we're down for this season, for this year. 5% play. That's it. That's it. And if you don't have the patience to get past that, so that when December 31st rolls around, we could look back and be like, fuck, we almost doubled our whole bankroll, or we did double our bankroll, we tripled our bankroll, or we made 50%, or like last year, 80% increase to our starting capital. Like, that's when it's going to matter. The road we're going to take, I can't predict it. We could have crushed it the first 3 months, been up 100 units, and now over these next 3, bleed back 50 of them, 60 of them. And someone might have jumped in right now because we've been up 100 units, and they're like, hell yeah, I'm riding with Ace. Well, when you start, we're down 60 units before you look up. Are you ready to ride that wave? That's what it takes to win. That's what it takes to win. That no matter when you jump in, you time that shit, it doesn't even matter. Because all you're trying to do is time in the market, not timing the market. You just want time in it. You don't want a day, a week, a month. You want 12 months, 24, 36. That's when you make money. You don't make it in a day, a week, a month. That's what, again, the emotional brain, the emotional brain. All these hot streaks, Where your chicks at? Where your whips at? Where is it? I don't see it. I see all these hot streaks. Where's the money? Where's the money? Somehow everyone's broke, but everyone's winning. Get the fuck out of here with that nonsense. None of that shit here. We don't play that here. We keep it real. We keep it real. Why do we keep it real? Because we actually win for real. As documented over the last 10 years. Yeah, let's go. I'm hyped. I'm so excited for UFC 300. And I have so much money riding on this stuff. So much, so much. Oh shit, it's tomorrow, huh? Today's Friday. I keep thinking it's Thursday. Damn. All right, that's what we want. That's what we want. That's what we want. I'm going to share something with you for the first time. I never shared this before. Only because we don't have games, okay? Here we go. Give me a second. I showed you guys before my game wheel, right? This folder holds the secrets to everything. This should be locked up like 8 safes in a safe, inside a safe, inside a safe, inside a safe, inside a safe, dug into the ground, buried on top, a building put over it to try to protect what's in here. Right here is the keys to everything, for everything. You ready? What we have in here is, first off, my whole blackjack system in one card. As you can see, it's a Red Rock laminate from the, you know, those little books they have by the phone when you check into the room? I used to play so much at Red Rock. We stay there for days, weeks at a time, up in those beautiful penthouses. Yeah, until they got mad. Where this breaks down the optimum and max bet size for 2-deck, 6-deck, that matrix variations that you need to get over 99% of the edge from deviating from basic strategy. That is all here with the deviations, Here we have the exact risk of ruin, how to keep your risk of ruin where you need it. You want a 1% risk of ruin playing my blackjack system, then you need 1,000 units. So if you're at a $10 table, you need 10 grand. With 10 grand, there's a 1% risk of ruin. That means 99 out of 100 times, you're going to double your bankroll before you lose it. That's how risk of ruin, that's how we quantify it. Like, what is the percentage of times you're going to double your bankroll compared to the percentage of times you're going to lose your bankroll? That's why I'm bringing this up, because that's what we do with the 0.25, 0.50, 0.75, 1%, 1.25. That's so I keep your risk of ruin as low as possible. Remember, if I with my advantage blackjack system, okay, with 1,000 units, I have a 1% risk of ruin. With only 500 units, let's say I cut that in half. I don't have 10 grand, I only have 5 grand. And I'm going to go sit at a $10 table and I'm going to bet spread $10 to $100. So I'm betting $10 units, okay? If I only have 500 of them, I'm now at a 10% risk of ruin. That means I'm going to double my bankroll 9 out of 10 times. But 1 out of 10 times, I'm going to lose it. I will lose the bankroll. But 9 out of 10 times, I'm going to be able to double it. Now, what happens when I get down to 200 of units only? I have an edge. It's the same system. The system hasn't changed. The only thing that changes is my bankroll. So let's say now I only have 200 units, not 1,000 units. Remember, at 1,000 units, my risk of ruin was 1%. At 200 units, you know what my risk of ruin is? 40%. 40 times higher my risk of ruin, just because I have that 5x less units, but 40 times greater risk. That's why I tell you bet size is everything. And no one talks about that. All they give is free picks and talk about stupid shit like points per game, rebounds per game, all stupid shit like that, instead of talking about how to actually make money doing this stuff. 40% risk of ruin. You know what that means? 6 out of 10 times you're going to double your bankroll. 4 out of 10 times you're going to lose your bankroll. So you're almost 50-50 with an edge over the house. You're still close to 50-50 as far as doubling your bankroll or losing it all. That's with an edge. So I'm telling you, I'm not just bringing this shit up for nothing. This is what matters more than anything. More than anything. I promise you that. Now, last but not least, this is what the GAN wheel I've gotten through already. With, of course, our Astro. You need Astro. I'm telling you. Planetary alignment and the moon, and this is coming from someone like me who doesn't believe in a lot of shit, plays such a huge role in cycles, in 100%. Like, few things affect us more than that, and affect cycles more than that. So what I did was I mapped out the next almost decade of days that matter, weeks that matter, times that are going to matter based on the GAN wheel. Telling you now, oh, mark this day down. Mark this day down. You ready? You want to have caution towards the end of May. Towards the end of May, you want to be cautious, very cautious. Okay, very cautious. Write down, remember this day, June 3rd, June 3rd. The markets, if early in the morning you start seeing the market moving in a positive direction, jump on board. Jump on board. It's going to be a huge positive day, up like a rocket. Between June 3rd, about almost a week, it's going to shoot up like a rocket. You want to be in transports, any companies that are transporting shit, and airlines. Transportation is what you want to be in during those 10 days. If you want to make some money, start June 3rd. Around June 12th, my birthday, June 12th, okay, through the 17th, start protecting your trade. Start protecting your trades. Start getting out of them. Start taking profits. Because come August 19th, August 20th, it's going to get bad. Have as few positions as possible. Unless you have shorts, you don't want to be going long. Things are going to get bad. There's going to be a ton of volatility into September. And mark this date down. Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve. That's when things really deteriorate through the end of the year. That last week is not going to go well for financial markets. It will not go well. The negativity is going to start forming well before Christmas, probably around the 10th of December. But you do not want to be in the markets at that time. You want to be shorting stuff, and you want to be saving your cash so that when it does crash, and in the beginning of 2025 is going bad, you want to be able to buy some shit at very cheap prices. Because 2025, the beginning of it, it's going to get bad. Towards the end is when it'll pick up and get good. And then like 2026 is going to be good. 2027 is going to be good. And we're going to forget all about the economic problems of today. Even 2028, huge. Those 3 years. That's why I'm saying, if at the end of 2024, 2025, you saved your cash and you bought those stocks that have deteriorated because of the chaos that I'm telling you is going to begin, you'll be able to ride them for 2 or 3 years, make a shitload of money, cash out right at the end of 2028. Right before that, I would probably around before the end of the year, before November, right around October, I would start selling all my shit and prepare for what's coming. Because 2029 is the 100-year cycle. That 100-year cycle is closing in on us pretty fast. I know it sounds like, 5 years, that's a long times away. It isn't. It isn't. Not at all. Not at all. And that shit's going to come fast. And you're going to be fine. You're going to have some gold. You're going to have made that money over those 3 years. Hopefully, I'm still doing this shit, and we could walk each other through it. Because I'm telling you, trust me when I tell you, this isn't me just pulling things out of the sky. It's very smart people that I paid a lot of money to learn some of these things. Because like I say, once you have something to protect, that's all you want to do is protect it. All right. If I paid for the year, what's the minimum bankroll I'd recommend to cover the cost and also make a profit? And that's hard because year by year it's different. But let's say last year, let's just use that as an example, the closest year to us. We had an 80% increase on capital. So if you started with 10,000, you should have made 8,000 if you followed exactly what I did. Let's say you didn't, and you did a little this, little that, little this, little that, and you only made 7,000. Minus your subscription, which if you buy in the beginning of the year and you take advantage of my $1,000 off offer to join me like I do, then you wouldn't have paid that much. It would only be like, 1,000. I don't even know what I charge. I don't even, because I don't charge it, they do. But it would be what, 1,000, 1,500, less than 2,000. So you got 7,000. Let's say you even paid 2,000. You bought some monthlies, not the whole year. That's $5,000 on 10,000, 50% increase on capital. Again, on 5,000, it would be 2,500. That's great. I mean, what business can you start with $5,000 that you're going to make 2,500? I don't know many that aren't going to put my life, my freedom at risk. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Like, how many businesses in a year can you start with 10 grand that you're going to increase your money by 50%? And again, not where you're risking your freedom doing crazy shit. So I would think that, I mean, minimum, I wouldn't get in with less than $5,000 because I'd want to do it right. And probably even better, 10,000. I think at 10,000, you'll make money. It'll be a real good investment. Probably better. Well, last year, better than pretty much any other available to us and shit. So yeah, 10 grand is good. You ain't got to come in with $500,000 like my boys did, but 10 dimes is enough. And again, right now, off that 10 dimes, you'd be starting this year with a 15 dime bankroll. You're no longer betting $25 a unit. You're betting $37.50 a unit. And the year after that, let's get it to $50 a unit. Now all of a sudden, you're going 50 to 250, baby. You're not betting 125 on a 5% play. You're betting 250. 2 years later, that shit's up to 500. That's how it happens. And rest assured, unless something drastic happens, we're going to be here for 2 years from now. So you might as well prepare for it. We're going to be here 6 months from now. You may as well prepare for it. Hopefully, God will. So please, 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 I'm telling you, if you're going to do this, do it right. I'm not going to lose money. I'm not doing this for nothing. That's why I tell you, I sleep in very comfortably that it's April, first week of April. We haven't crushed it. And when I'm not down money, I'm good. I'm sitting good. I know I'm not always going to crush. Like, we're coming off. Listen, we just wrapped 2023 up. 2023 was three months and 2 weeks ago. So just 3 months ago, we were celebrating that we increased our starting capital by 80%. We're going to consolidate. Who we think we are? We're going to go straight up in a line. If you go straight up, you're going to come straight back down. Like I say, just like the losing touts, the ones that go 11-0 go 0-11. It's a 15-0 is followed by 1-14. If you go straight up, you come straight down. You don't never want to go straight up. You want to go up a little, chop, 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 take a breath, set up again for the next leg up, chop, 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 next leg up. That is sustainable. That's not sustainable. That's not sustainable. That's how they caught Madoff. The guy showed he never had a losing freaking quarter, a losing year. That's mathematically impossible. Anyone that's invested for more than a couple years knows no matter how good of a fucking trader you are, you're going to have losing trades. You're going to have losing quarters. Well, this guy didn't. So it became obvious to anyone with a brain that either he can see the future that no one else can, or it's a fucking scam. And it became a scam. All right, so let me see if anything else is coming in. Then let me get back to work, because it's Friday, it's start of a series. Basketball is kind of wait for the playoffs now. So unless a play comes in here or there, it's wait for the playoffs. But we do have series starting in baseball, so I want to dig back into them since like I said, they're rebooting the bots, whatever that means. Rebooting the bots. So something happened. Someone threw a wrench in the shit. That's for damn sure. But again, remember, 2 pieces of the puzzle: bet size, bankroll. Bet size never changes. Bankroll does. If you need to be betting more, increase your bankroll, not your bet size. Remember what this increases? Risk of ruin. Risk of ruin. The less units you have based on your bankroll, the higher your risk of ruin increases. You want a 1% risk of ruin. You want to know 99 out of 100 times you're going to double up that bankroll. That's comfort. That's how I play blackjack now. I didn't in the beginning. I rolled the dice like everyone else. Went good for me, went bad for me. But now I won't play it unless I'm prepared to play with a 1% risk of ruin. That's why when someone says, hey, you know, I want to play blackjack, I want to bet 1,000 a hand, how much do I need? Tell them 100 dimes, minimum. Yeah, if you want a 1% risk of ruin, come in with 100 dimes and let's get this going. To bet 1,000 per unit. That's a lot. It's a lot of money. And if you want a 1% risk of ruin, though, that's what it takes. At 1,000 a unit, excuse me, going from 1,000 to 10,000, he's got to have $1 million. If you're betting 1,000 a unit, I'm talking from 100 to 1,000, which is what I play, need 100 grand. Now I don't walk into the casino with 100 grand, but I know I have 100 grand as my blackjack bankroll. For a trip, I'll bring about 20 to 40 with me. As long as I have 40 top bets, I'm usually good. I get by with 25, but 40 I'm most comfortable, I've found. But yeah, that's what I do. 100 to 1,000 is what I play, the $100 table. Sometimes I'll sit at 25 to 250, but those are usually more crowded. And I don't like playing crowded tables. So I usually play 100 to 1,000. And again, you need 100 dimes. Now again, you don't need that at the table with you, but you need that as your bankroll. And if you want to go $1,000 units, 1,000 to 10,000, you need $1 million. With $1 million, that's a 1% risk of ruin. So I would double your $1 million 99 out of 100 times. That's a good percentage, bro. That's a good percentage. We will double that bankroll 99 out of 100 times. It's going to take a long time, obviously, but that's the math. These aren't opinions. Again, they're not my opinions. That's just what the math is based on if you have a 1.5 to 2% edge, which is what my system gives you over the house. So nothing has come in. Geez, quiet day, huh? Let me see. Before I let you go, it's like I almost don't want to let you go, but I'm not going to waste your time here. I'd rather send you guys out someplace if possible. Let me just look real quick. I may have something right now. Hold on. I'll go through it with you real quick. Give me a sec in case we get a baseball play. Yeah, you guys ready? 3% play? 3% play? 955 St. Louis, 955 St. Louis. Plus 112, plus 112. For 3% play. Go St. Louis, baby. I like that play. All right. I like it. Send that out. Right. If you guys got any more questions, fire them now so I can shut this down and find some more winners for us. We may even increase this one. It doesn't go off till 7. All right. We may make this a 4% play, especially if it gets confirmed with that one other group. Let's see. Yes, absolutely. The Scotty, the MMA betting card. Here we go. You ready? -5% play, Armin Sarukian, -225. 4% play, Bobby Green, -185. 4% play, Sadiq Youssef, +125. 4% play, Alexander Rakic, -115. 4% play, Jamal Hill, +111. 4% play, we upgraded it from a 3, Max Holloway, +143. 3% play, Yan Xiaonan, +400. And 3% play, Aljamain Sterling, -165. -165. And we also have the Birmingham Stallions in football, -7. I believe that's a game for tomorrow. And hold on. Hold on. I think we got one more play, and then I'll shut it down. All right. I got an instant message that they put stuff. All right, you guys ready? Game 974, 974. New York Mets, 974, -133. I'll make it 135. Mets -135. Mets -135. Yep, Mets -135, 3% play. Sorry, boys, and gals, my energy just changed real quick. I just got a message. Yeah, my mom hasn't been doing really well. She's in Greece, and I just got a message. So forgive me. Dan, they're upgrading. If anyone upgrades from the MLB plan, they're going to credit it. Johnny's hooking it up. Yeah, we're trying to get you guys long term, man, so you could actually fucking make money. Like, please, if you just follow along and have some patience, it's going to work out exactly the way you want, where you actually make money betting sports. That much I can promise you, because it's just based on past results. Again, they say, oh, past results don't. Thank you, C-Money. Thank you. They say past results don't guarantee future results, but come on, we're working with the same people. We got the same edge. Every year is the same thing. Just curious why you like doing 3% on first 5 and full game and first half. Yeah, I'll tell you the truth. Why? Exactly why. We do it for football too. It's a way to actually, it's not 6% on the same side, because they're different parts of the game. Like if a side, it's almost like diversifying by splitting up your money. But our edge has proven in baseball to be greater than some other markets, and that is my goal, to get more down. And the best way to do it, and has minimized our risk, is by spreading it out with first 5 in game. When we're running hot, not only are you going to get first 5 in game, but you're going to get props that support it as well. Anyone that's bet baseball with me in years past, you know what happens. We start going over 8.5 for the game, over 4 for the first 5, over runs, hits, and errors, run in the first inning. Yes, we try to nail it every possible way when we got our edge. And as long as you bet size correctly, I'm never going to overexpose you. You'll never have more exposure. Even if you're looking at it as one bet, 3% first 5, 3% for the game, that's still 1.5% of total bankroll. That's still less than what 99% of touts are urging people to bet. They're telling people to bet 3%, 5% on all their plays, not best bets. We're doing this on the very strongest. Instead of making it a 5% play or even a 4% play, what do? I go 2 and 2, 3 and 3. Unloading, overexposing would have been 5% on the side, 5% on the total, 5% on the team total over, 5% on run hit errors over. That's when we're just going nuts. But putting an entire 1.5% on a play wouldn't even be out of, for us, we put 1.25 on our 5%. So it wouldn't even be much bigger than that. Again, I'm always paying attention to that. That's why I'm not afraid to send out 3% side, 3% first 5, because anyone that's doing it right is not overexposed. They're only overexposed if they're doing it wrong. Now, if they're betting 3% on the side, 3% on the first 5, let me break the suspense for you. You're going to go broke. My picks are not going to help you. You're already on that trajectory of going broke. That mindset is not one of a winning sports bettor. If you want to be a winning sports bettor, everything you do needs to reflect that. It's like if I keep bringing it up, if I want to have a 6-pack and I want to be built, talking about it, thinking about it, dreaming about it, reading about it, none of that's going to help me. The only thing that's going to help me is actually doing it, putting in the work, putting in the work, putting in the work, putting in the work, putting in the work. That's just what it comes down to. It's the same with sports betting. It's beatable if you have an edge due to sources of information, but you got to show up and put in the work. And to do that means following the blueprint, following the blueprint, following the blueprint. Great question by EM. Great question. Great question. Because I'm sure a lot of new guys are doing exactly that, EM, where they're like, shit, I'll put 3% on the side, 3% on the total. He must love this. 3% for the game, 3% in the first half. He must love this. Again, they're not 4s and 4s, not 5s and 5s. It's a way to get down more than 1% on the entire game, but by breaking it up. And historically, it's done well for us. It's done well for us. Thank you, Ernesto. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Scotty. Scotty says, thanks for everything, Ace. Very few people in the industry come and go over results, and ours transparent. I can't wait to be a long-time subscriber. I can't either, Scotty. God bless you, bro. I promise you, every week I'll come in here. Listen, I lost last week. Let me see the last 7 days. Let me tell you how bad I've done. Let me make sure you guys know how bad I've done the last 7 days. Yeah, I'm near the end. I'm near the bottom. I'm near the bottom. I lost 24.71 units last 7 days, and here's why. Here's why. Because over the last 3 days, I lost 13 of them. We went 7 and 10, excuse me. We only went 3 plays under 500, but it was 3%, 3%, 3%. Add some juice in, and it's 13. But fortunately, we don't bet like that. So what I'm saying is, I've had a bad week. A bad week. April started, we're good in April, but it's been a bad week. And I need to come in here. I need to face the people that trust me to bet my plays, to trust me to ride this with me over a year. So if I didn't do that, you need to question me. Like I always tell you guys, anyone that's not telling you how they did for the year, for last year, the year before that, you need to question it. I mean, you need to demand more of anyone you're paying. And you guys pay me, I owe you that. I owe you to face you and tell you, dude, yeah, I'm getting my ass kicked. You're paying for this, and I'm coming up short. I'm able to admit that I have not lived up to my end of the bargain yet for 2024, but I established before the year started what my goals are. And I stressed it as strongly and as many times as possible. If our goals are aligned, if my goal and your goal are the same, I will not disappoint you. I'll do everything in my power to make sure that never happens. You are never disappointed if our goals are the same, because I don't want to be disappointed. But if our goals are not aligned, I will disappoint you. I will come up short, because we're trying to do two different things. I'm going to do my thing. And when December 31st rolls around, I'm going to be up money. And the only question is how much money I'm going to be up, because that's what I do. I trade for a living, and I'm a profitable trader. I'm a very, very good trader. So I have no doubt where I'm going to be December 31st. And anyone that's followed me and has followed the blueprint on bet sizing is going to be up exactly like I am. I promise you that, because that's exactly what we're doing, baby. Yeah, no, thank you, Ian. Please, 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 and always know, I never call out anything. I'm the one that always says there's no such thing as an offensive or foolish question. And in fact, the foolishness is not to ask it, because again, no one's supposed to know everything. And most people are probably thinking the exact same thing, have the exact same questions. So I always appreciate that. Their sale price grandfather the following year for annual. Yeah, if you reach out to WagerTalk and ask Johnny will grandfather you in. If your goal is to work with me long-term, EM, they'll make it happen. Because I gave them the green light. I'm not trying to upsell anyone, push you into a VIP platinum package, that kind of nonsense. I just want people to jump on and just give themselves a chance to do it right with me for a number of months. And I promise you, the lights are going to shine, doors are going to open. Most of you are smarter than me, sharper than me. You're going to see it. It's so obvious that you're doing the right thing. And you're going to know what that long-term result's going to be, the outcome, by putting in this work. That's all we're doing. Right now, you're putting in the work so that we can say December 31st how we got here. But the work's got to be, and this is putting in the work, not fighting those demons, not over betting, not chasing, not betting for action when we're passing. Like, this is when we get tested, man. This is when we get tested. When we're winning, everything's easy. Everything's easy. And when we're losing, everything's easy. Just got to right the ship. Just got to get back on track. But it's when you're in boredom, in consolidation, where things can get tricky and things can happen unnecessarily. And I don't want that. I don't want you to have a hole to get out of when I get hot. I want you to profit when I get hot. And the only way to have that happen is by having you not fall behind. So please, please, please stick to the blueprint. I am working my ass off every day to try to get the strongest information and sources of information and piece it together so that it's profitable for us. I know over the big picture, I will do that. I will do that very well. It's in the small size, sample size, that I can't guarantee it all the time. And like I said, these last 7 days, I have been terrible. And that's why I had to come in here and talk about the last 7 days. But overall, baby, overall, it's all over. It's all over. Sherlock says, I align with all my UFC picks except the Rocket Chick and Yuri. Listen, I've gotten pushback on my fading Yuri bet, and here's what I believe. I love Yuri. I think the way he came in with a splash has been amazing. And he's got, he looks the part. Here's the negative though. 3 performance bonuses in a row before his last loss. all the hype that comes in with him, it's hard to get value on a guy like that to begin with. Ratchet has now been coming off a layoff, a loss before that to Blachowicz. So, you know, if anything, you got one guy coming off looking as bad as he can look on the Ratchet side, where the Yuri side, he's almost getting a pass for his loss. But the market making Ratchet the favorite, to me, is so telling. Now, I expected the line to flip as we get to the weekend, because now is when bettors are starting to bet. And there's so many recreational MMA bettors who will be betting UFC 300. And they do not know who Ratchet is, but they know who Yuri is. And the money's going to keep going that side. It doesn't mean it's going to lose. Yuri, if he wins, I won't be surprised. But I just really think Ratchet is better everywhere. I think in the stand-up, you're talking about positive differential versus negative differential. And one guy just gets hit way too much in Yuri. In the grappling department, I give him the edge. I just think Ratchet is one of those guys that just isn't sexy. He just doesn't sell. But as far as the skill set, he's got it. He's got it. I think at the very least, he gives Yuri a lot of problems. And his coin flip price will be warranted. Lean on the Figgy fight, that's the problem. For me, it's Cody or nothing. Cody or pass. And this is why I don't like watching preview shows or press conferences, because I don't want to be biased. And with Cody Garbrandt, I'm biased. I've met the man multiple times. He's as true of a gentleman as you'll ever meet in your life. He lives here in Vegas. I've met him at the Performance Institute. I've met him at the Apex. I've met him at the casino. Every single time, the man goes out of his way to come up, to say hello, to ask you how you're doing, remembers the names of your wife, remembers you have a kid. Like, he's that guy. He's that guy. How can you not love? And it's all genuine and true. Like, it's not fake. That's why it pisses me off whenever, like, I saw any negativity towards that guy. Like, for as badass as he is, and a handsome young man, to be as grounded as he is, and nice and decent to anyone, like, will give you his time, tells me a lot about his character. So I don't want to ever root against my guy. And I do think this is a great spot, because, dude, he could bang with anybody. He could bang with anyone. That's for damn sure. And with Figgy, you know what his weakness is? It's his defense. It's his defense. You know, he's been cracked before. So Garbrandt could crack anyone. I like Cody. I like Cody. I haven't bet it yet, but you may get a 2% play on that tomorrow. So listen, I got to get back so I could see some more bases for us. If we got anything else, I love you guys. Let's have a good weekend, a good week. We're going to have a chat next week where we talk about the last 7 days winning. And let's get ready to go on that run, baby. No, I do not have a cutoff. Nope. I think that's the biggest mistake anyone can make is, again, if it works for you, then stick to it. But personally, I think you're limiting yourself. Like, I bet a minus 800 comfortably, where I was so sure I had EV there. And I feel just as confident betting a plus 800, where I know I'm going to throw it out, 8 out of 10 times, whatever the math is, just pulling out arbitrary numbers. Like, for me, it's all about EV, all about EV. What's my implied line? What's the market's? Are we differ? If it's a favorite, it's a favorite. If it's a dog, it's a dog. If it's a huge favorite, got to swallow that chalk, drink some water so it goes down smoothly, and that's it. I'm not on the smaller cards, man. I've been focused on 300. That's why we got so many big bets and a lot of our bankroll in play. You guys have a great weekend. Like I said, love you, appreciate the support, and thank you for the prayers for my mom. God bless. Talk soon.